So we are recording to the cloud. This is R622 Learning Environments Design. And I think I remember when this course was first created by Dr. Bob Appelman, well, about 2 decades ago. And I said, gosh, that sounds like a good class to teach. A lot of fun because, in effect, learning theories at that time were losing steam. The debates about learning theories, all the debates we had, they were vicious debates. And I think people settled on, in fact, my teaching statement at the time talks about creating learning environments because people settled on just that learning environments is the best term that cuts across all the theories that are out there. Now, some of you had 511 with me on instructional technology foundations. Some of you currently do, like Evan, where we cover a lot of learning theories. Others of you might take P540 with Dr. Hickey on what was originally called Learning and Cognition in Education. That's taught by the learning science people, where I used to be. I was in educational psychology at IU the first 13 years, and 3 years before that at West by God, Virginia. I taught that course for a long time until recently, when I moved from educational psychology to IST. I was told I could teach that course 540 forever, once time a year, but people forgot. And so I'm not teaching that course right now. It's been reshaped and remodeled. But P540, there's also P640 on thinking in a social context, thinking and learning in social context. I developed that course too. I no longer teach that for various reasons. I'm told I'm not qualified to teach my own course, but that's another story. But there's those two courses give you good theory, and 511 gives good, overview of theory. But this course will have some of it too, as well. And I can any day you want me to talk about a particular theory, whether it's constructivism, social constructivism, cognitive constructivism, or other offshoots of constructivism, or behavioral theory of social learning theory, or cognitive theory, or connectivist theory. I can. You just have to ask. But it's alive and well in 511. So our 511 has a lot of learning theories. And so I no longer think that any one theory is prime or the most important, but there's aspects of every one that works. And what you're going to do this semester is come to make sense of the different perspectives on learning and instruction, and to design, in effect, your own ideal kind of learning environment as the final task in here. And if you've read the syllabus, you'll see some of that in there. It's a build, it's a midterm assignment, and it builds towards the end. Now, this is the second time I'm teaching this course. I taught it for the first time last fall because Dr. Brush was on sabbatical, and he's been teaching it for a long time, along with an alum of the IST program. The two of them have been teaching this for the last 5 to 10 years. I've wanted to teach it. I don't want to take it over, but I'm glad that I can teach it. I'm hoping that I can do something else in the spring, like the course Linda had with me before on Saturdays, the 8-week course on thinking and learning and social, instructional strategies for critical and creative thinking, collaboration, motivation, and my emerging learning technologies class. I hope at least one of those I'll teach, or both. The emerging learning technologies is a 100-page syllabus. So the 27 or 28 page here is nothing. Everything's a choice. And you have to pick and choose, as they say, what was it in Raiders of the Lost Ark, choose wisely. You're gonna have a chance to choose wisely in this class. We can go down a lot of rabbit holes, into whatever new trend is happening today, whether it's ChatGPT, where my research is right now, and I could present my research on ChatGPT, and maybe I will. I'm going to bring in, though, 3 people who are AI, well, 2 that are AI experts, 1 that's a postdoc studying AI. I'm going to bring the 3 of them in, 2 from Harvard and 1 from York University in Toronto. I just confirmed 1 of those late this afternoon. So in fact, the syllabus you have is changed because the guests are starting to change a little bit, and I've moved some weeks around. And tonight I'm going to ask you whether we need to move a couple weeks. And so you're going to decide if the logical flow is the way I have it, or if we should emphasize something else. I'll explain more here in a little bit. How How many people, raise your hands, have read the syllabus or at least a paragraph from what I've sent you? At least a paragraph. Okay, almost everybody. And how many came with a question related to the syllabus besides me?
I was just wondering why it was so short.
Yeah.
Because I took 670, 78 with you, and I remember the 100-page syllabus.
It was 110 probably when you took it, the monster syllabus, right? So yeah, why is it so short? Because it's only the second time I'm teaching it. Really isn't until the third time you teach a course that you really feel like you've got it under control. So the advantage of the first 2 times that someone teaches the course to take it with that person is that you know that that person is still learning and growing and will listen to your suggestions on how to change the course and what needs to be added. And we'll have a lot of maybe creative spurts where the new ideas tried out. First 2 times is about trying out new things and seeing if they work or not. And so, hi Amelia, are you in Japan or in Kansas City right now?
I'm in Japan right now, so it's morning to me. It's nice to join everyone. Nice to see some familiar faces.
Great. And will I see you in Japan in December, early December, when I visit?
Yes, I hope so. I'm looking forward to that talk and this class and everything.
Great. Sounds great. Is anyone from Egypt here? I'm going to be in Egypt the end of September and doing this class from Egypt, I think, or maybe have a couple sessions the week before I go to Egypt. My former student, Jihan Osman, has agreed to meet with me, and I've asked her to maybe be interviewed for this class, but we'll see when we do that. I know other people at the American U of Cairo as well. And so I'll be there for a week as a visiting scholar, whatever title they give me or whatever. And then Japan and Korea in December. Let's see. Bo, before I even start going through the syllabus, Bo, I've asked to kind of tell you a bit about the course and his experience last year taking it the first time with me. He's had other courses with me as well. I think he had 511 with me, I believe, Bo.
Yeah. 511 was in the spring last year. But yeah, so I think it was really nice last year when I took this class because one, it was my first course with you, which was fun. That was exciting for me. But two, since it was your first time teaching the course as well, you were kind of learning and developing things as we went along as well. One of the things that I'd mentioned to Emily and Christy the other day, they'd reached out to me with a couple questions about the syllabus, was something for you to know if you haven't taken one of Dr. Bonk's classes before. His syllabuses are continuously growing and developing throughout the course of the semester, and it's awesome. I mean, like if you find articles or good resources and you reference those in some of like your discussion postings or things like that, Dr. Bonk will also include those articles into the syllabus as well. So it's like we're kind of contributing to the development of it as we go along. One of the things that I would say that I liked the most about this last fall, though, was I look forward to these Monday night Zooms. I get excited for the quality of the guest lecturers that come for these sessions. They are absolutely phenomenal, and the more that you can engage with them, the better the conversation is, and the increased in learning opportunities that you'll have throughout the semester.
Do you want to tell them what your project was, at least your big project?
I don't
if
remember.
You remember.
I took 2 research classes and a computer science class this summer, so I can't remember right off the top of my head now.
I'll have you pull it up maybe next week and show it.
Okay.
So
I can see if I can find it while we're on here, but yeah, I'll see what I can do.
So Bo took it last year, this course last year, and so I thought I'd invite him in here. He's the TA or the instructional assistant for this semester. You notice that I sent you a link last night to sign up to moderate a week. And already a bunch of you have been in. Evan in week 1, Christy week 2, Emily in week 3, Emmanuel week 4, Sal Holland week 5, Ed is week 6, Rachel Herman. Rachel, do you need this class? You're just a glutton for punishment. No.
This is my last required class. I
Okay, we
need
can
one
all
more.
clap for her then. Okay, her last required class. She passed qualifying exams, which is a big deal for her EDD. So very good, Rachel. Maddie is in week 10, Bliss is in week 12, and Amelia's week 13, and Yoshra is week 15. There's others, that's on one column. There's another column where people pick. You don't have to pick the same column on the right and left. One column's to moderate the discussion of, to moderate discussion, and the second column is to co-moderate, to help someone else out. And so the one on the left is the primary moderator. They can work together or whatever. Bo and I will be giving you feedback on the discussion forums. In the past, in both classes, I've been using blogging for the last couple of years. I've been avoiding asynchronous discussion forums, partly because I got bored with them. But I did research on them. I did a book on it. I edited a book, all IU based, on discussion forums in 1998. So I've been doing, and I've started using them in 93. So I've been using discussion forums for 30 years. So it doesn't mean I don't know how to use them. I've written books on how to give feedback, all this stuff, I brought some books with me. I got some free books and do it. I just wanted to try something different for a while. And I like blogs. I think people can learn a lot, because blogs you can take with you when you're done, and you can reflect on them and have ownership over them and all sorts of things. But I've been doing blogs for maybe 2-3 years in a row. And I just decided, this year, this fall, we'll just go back to asynchronous discussion combined with these synchronous, and these synchronous sessions are optional. I'm not requiring anyone to be here. You can come here, and I mentioned that if you do come to more than, and Bo will keep track of, Bo, write down everyone who's here, by the way. If you come to 10 or more of these, you don't have to participate in the discussion forums other than moderate a week. So this will be your participation. So the discussion forums, now you can do both, or you could do the discussion forums a little bit and attend some of the, 10 or more of these, whatever you want. But in the past, I saw that there is little incentive for people to come to the synchronous after the first few sessions. And so that's a little incentive if people want. Again, we can't require it. It's not part of our agreement with the students who sign up for the program. We say no synchronous. So, but it's totally optional. So don't get stressed out if you can't be here. Now, if you want to do the 10 and want to come to 10 or more sessions, and 1 week you're sick, or like Ty just had, he couldn't connect in, that's okay. Just watch the recording and do a little reflection for a paragraph or two, and we'll count it that way. So if there's some week that your daughter has swim lessons, or you have to go give a poetry recital or something like that, don't stress out. You can make that, but just watch the recording, write a reflection, no more than a page, usually a paragraph or two. Then Bo and I will know that you've been here, and you can just send it. You can send it to Bo and then copy me on, CC me on it, and we'll both have it. Again, that's something new I've never tried before. So the logistics of it might be, I might change some of the things in the syllabus are new. I might change it. In my other class, I'm having students utilize ChatGPT. I'm telling my students they can cheat. So instead of having the students write a book review, they can have ChatGPT do a book review, and then they write a paper critiquing ChatGPT's book review. So I'm trying that in the other class. I don't know if I put that in the syllabus here to utilize generative AI, but maybe I put that in for a couple of the assignments where you can try that out and see how it goes. Of the generative AI tools, the one I like is Chat PDF. Chat PDF analyzes PDF documents. And so if you want 5 to 10 questions on a PDF, it'll generate them. If you want a summary on the PDF, it'll generate that. It's pretty cool, but it's limited to 100 pages in the free version. All this is brand new. All this is just coming out. So we really don't know what's going to exist a year from now. We don't really know today how to use these properly. There's tons of articles about potential uses, about innovative pedagogy, but there's still nothing really definitive out there. Okay, so again, I haven't gone through the syllabus yet. I've got it queued up. I've got a couple options of how we can do this. Let me maybe I'll just mention a couple things, then I'll show this. So what I'll do is I won't read the syllabus. I'll mention a couple things from the syllabus, then I'll pull it up and show you it. And then we'll have a couple breakout groups and see if you have questions for me or things that you're going to be utilizing from this. And so the page 2, the weeks are laid out in here. The weeks are not set in stone. And I have guests usually coming at 7 o'clock Eastern on a Monday, but we have a couple people who are in California, at least one, and that's maybe too early. They're at Apple Computer. That's maybe they're still working at that time. So I have to keep that in mind. We have one person in Japan, so I have to keep that in mind too. Amelia, sorry about that, but I think 7 o'clock is 8 in the morning in Japan. Yeah, okay. So we're okay there. And sometimes it's 9 in the morning, sometimes it's 7 in the morning. It's daylight savings and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So that is in the syllabus. I've got the people mentioned in here who will be coming in on particular weeks, but it's changed, as I said. I've just confirmed Dr. Chris Deedy at Harvard, my podcast partner for week 5. And he's a big AI expert. He's got a $20 million AI initiative. He's a futurist of education. I read his stuff when I went to grad school, and it was way long, like my syllabus, Ed. Dr. Deedy wrote articles about the future of AI in education like 30 years ago or more, and the future of the desktop. He did all this stuff. He's been, researching immersive worlds, virtual reality, and all sorts of things. He's agreed to discuss. He's got a new report that summarizes there's a new report that summarizes what MIT, Stanford, and Harvard learned from the pandemic. And he wrote a paper about that. And so he's going to come in and talk about his recent papers, a short paper. I put it in the syllabus. It's in here. I might have put it in week 12 or 13. I put a different paper from Dr. Deedy on the week with AI with his postdoc, who's going to, Lydia Cow, whose name I spelled wrong in the syllabus. Lydia's going to come in too on week 13 to talk about the paper about the benefits of AI in education. I just got an email from an architect in Denmark who contacted me a year ago, and we couldn't get him last year. We couldn't find a time, and he agreed to come to visit us. And he's creating wellness spaces and places where you have mindfulness and belongingness and all sorts of innovative building designs. And so tentatively, he's going to come October 16th. His name is Claudio Mucca. Again, this just happened today. If you know, AECT is the big conference or organization for IST. The incoming president of IST has agreed to join us. Her name is Joy Moore. She's an old friend. She's a University of Missouri professor. She's coming on October 30th, tentatively. And we have others. My good friend and former dean of York University, Ron Ostin, is now working on intelligent tutoring systems and teaching systems with Contact North in Canada. They're developing a new tutoring and teaching system. He's going to demo it for us. It's not done yet. Originally, I had him scheduled October 2nd. I might move him to October 9th. So he's another big name. We also have Paul Kim from Stanford, who developed the Stanford Mobile Inquiry Learning Environment, where kids ask different levels of questions and it analyzes the level of question. Paul's developed a lot of things like the Pocket School Project, where your teacher's in your pocket with technology. He's done a lot of things besides fly airplanes like a crazy man that he is. My son and him went to Tanzania to work with kids in the SMILE project, as well as to Argentina and other parts of the world. He's been all over the world with the SMILE project. So he'll talk about designing learning environments. He taught a MOOC on designing new learning environments to 20,000 people. He had people cross-culturally around the world do teamwork. The 20,000 people that took the course. He's coming in week 3. He'll be just arriving back from Europe or Korea that day. He might be exhausted, but he agreed to come. Next week, we have 2 people, Sunny Zhang and her husband Sandip, who started a company in Houston. It's called True Leap. It's basically a learning management system to help people who can't afford learning management systems. So they're trying to ramp up learning around the world with that system, and they're going to present to us and invite you to do a project in this class that might be an evaluation of the True Leap, a learning management system or something of that nature. So they're going to present that next week, and you might get a project idea for your midterm or your final from them, or a couple of you could work together on that. On week 7, I just got agreement from Tracy Birdwell, who works for IU, the Mosaic Active Learning Project, and she's going to come in on October 2nd at 7 o'clock. We've had many IU IST students work as postdocs and work as researchers on the Mosaic project. And our dean in the School of Ed used to run the Mosaic project. So it's basically about building spaces for active and engaging learning. That will be on week 7 now at 7 o'clock at October 2nd. Maybe that's the most important speaker of the semester because it matches the title of the course. The Mosaic Active Learning Environments Project matches designing learning environments one-to-one. So that's kind of cool, I think. And there's a couple I've got left over. We're going to have Niles Floor with us. The floor is not the ceiling. We have Niles with us from the Netherlands. He's the one who coined the word learning experience design. So you may have heard learning experience design. Well, that's the guy who made the word up. And we're going to hear what learning experience design is, both from him as well as from Danielle McNamara from Arizona State. She's the director of the SOLET Lab, which is getting at how to engineer learning. So the Arizona State, if you don't know, is one of the most innovative higher education institutions in the country. They're always trying something new out. And Danielle was on my podcast show 2 weeks ago. And at the end, I said, would you like to come into my class and talk about all your, how you're designing these or engineering learning environments? And she said, yes. So it's great that we have her in. So, but as Bo starts to hear all this, he's going to say, wow, you got even better people than last semester, and I think we do, actually. On the 14th, week 14, tentatively, Christine Greenhow, who's a professor at Michigan State University, who studies informal and formal learning through social media. So she'll talk more about that, and we may move that around. We have an article from her in week 15. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So you'll see in the schedule here how many points things are allocated. And on September 18th, oh, and by the way, if you took a previous class with me, I might add a 4 or 5 or 7 day grace period. This course will have a 2-day. I'm going to try and stay pretty close to the 2-day, because if not, my brain is going to be skedaddled. I'm going to have brain cells going out of my ears because it's going to be really tricky for me to get through this semester with different things. So I'm going to try and, be on a schedule. So last semester I might have been kind of loose. This time I just want you to realize I'm going to try and stick to 2 days. Now, if you get sick and you need another day, that's okay. Don't stress out, but try and plan for that, accordingly. And so September 18th, the first 2 assignments are due, and that's a learning environment critique of an existing one, an analysis of an existing one, as well as the design of your final project, the skeleton, just the basics of what you plan to do. It's not too hard. It shouldn't be too difficult to do both of those. I would like that the skeleton one to be done as a team with someone else, because it's going to lead to a final, and that final should be done as a team. Now, there are exceptions to that if you don't have access to anyone else to talk to or know anybody else in this class. But we'll try and have people post their introductions up in Padlet, which many of you have already done. Thank you. And we'll try and introduce each other in different ways. At the end, on November 13th, you'll see the final project is due, along with a summary of the course and what you learned in the course. And then for the final 2 weeks of the course, from the 27th of November to December 4th, we'll just be sharing what you did for your final projects and what you learned, and you'll be talking to each other about what you did in fact learn in Canvas. So that's so far. If you look at page 5 of the syllabus, this is my old page 5. All those people on the old page 5 are the guests from last year. Those are all the recordings with the guests of last year. So if you're interested in what we had discussed and who we brought in last year, and there's a playlist. In fact, the top link will, once you get to the playlist, you can click all 15 of them, which makes it really easy to access. I didn't design the playlist. My assistant Seth did when he was done. So that's cool. That's really great. It lets you access all the contents like a book, but a visual book, a video book in effect. So that's pretty good in there. You'll notice in that week, we had Sunmei Sol from Stanford, a different person who created the SMILE project. She designed or had the initial idea for the kids asking questions at different levels of Bloom's taxonomy and challenging each other to ask harder questions. And you'll see that we did cover the Mosaic project on week 7 with Merve Bazdigan, who just left Indiana for Texas Tech for a tenure track job, and my former student, Maina Ju, who worked on the Mosaic project as well. You'll notice that on week 10 last year on page 6, we had the EdTech Books people from Brigham Young University. So EdTech Books is a project that was created a few years ago to create free textbooks for this discipline, for IST, for EdTech. I've got 3 of my books up at EdTech Books for free. And so that's a valuable website. And we interviewed the people from EdTech Books, the BYU professors there. I will point out that week 11 last year, we had Tony Bates from Canada, and he's like an icon in the field of online and digital forms of learning. He has a free book, I think maybe called The Digital Student, that's been downloaded hundreds of thousands of times. He's got different editions of the book. He's 80 years old. He's trying to retire, but people keep bringing him out and having him present. And so Tony Bates is like a huge name in the field. Week 13 last year, Michael Spector talked about smart learning environments, and he's also a big name. He's such a big name at AACT. They have a trophy in his honor or award in his name. Okay, so he's a North Texas University professor, Michael Spector. Dr. Ray Schroeder, who Bro loved last year, we brought him in last year. Could we bring him back again? I was at a conference a month ago, and they made a new award up in Dr. Schroeder's name and handed it out for the first time to someone else. So that was really cool. Last year, Dr. Schroeder talked about AI and the future of education kind of thing. And he's a writer for Inside Higher Ed. If you ever read Inside Higher Ed, he's got often the last piece on new trends in technologies. Dr. Schroeder has won awards for his blog because he blogs on everything that's happening out there, and you just have to read his blog to keep up on things. So he was week 14 last year.
I'm really glad you got him again, because he was definitely like the capstone. That was a great conversation that time.
Well, I didn't get him again. I haven't asked him yet. So
I thought you said you did get him again. Okay,
all these people I'm reading from last year that are in your list, so you can watch them. But I might bring Ray back because for different reasons, yeah. In particular, because maybe when we bring Dr. Ostin to talk about his intelligent tutoring systems, we can have Ray discuss, what he sees in them. That would be really good. That's a good idea, actually. So you'll notice in here, to be a moderator, you get 40 points, and contributing that way. The moderator tries to summarize some of the articles by Monday morning of the week and poses some questions for others to ask and discuss. And so there are some things listed on page 7 that you could do. On page 7, there's 60 points for the learning environment critique and analysis. You can read that as well. You have options to that task, including watching my podcast show. I don't know how many I put in here, how many shows, but watching some of our podcast shows and summarizing them. Let me look here. It's been a while since I read this. Do you see it, Bo? How many shows? No. Well, I'll let you read through that. That's an option. The third option is voluntary assignment to do whatever you would like to do. And then the learning environment skeleton is listed there on page 9. Okay, there are templates in Dropbox. I probably should show you Dropbox for this class so that we can, all explore that as well together. So that's page 9, 10, 11. Then the super course summary is a 1,500 to 2,000 word summary of the class. If you work with a partner, it's 2,500 to 3,000 words. And then on page 12 and 13, we get to the articles. So let me just pause for a second. So before I show the syllabus, Does anyone have a question? Or questions?
It's a silly question. What is HE on week 7? Active
HE?
learning spaces in
Yeah.
HE.
HE, higher education.
Ah, okay, because for histologists, hematoxin and using, my brain is not computing. Sorry. Thank you.
Huge elephant. Any other questions or comments so far? Okay, let me see if I can pop up this syllabus in this class. And I think, can you see that, Bo?
Not yet. There we go.
It does show up now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Okay, so at the top there, on the syllabus, you'll see a link to Dropbox, and I'm hoping that this actually does work. I haven't even tested it yet, but there it goes. So in Dropbox, you'll see all the articles for the class. So you can have, you don't have to buy anything in here. So you click on this thing. Now, if you want to buy stuff, you can always buy stuff. But if you click on them, and all the articles are listed by the first author's last name in alphabetical order. If you want to find something from Mahabali in Egypt, where I'm going in a month, Mahabali is in there. Good article. I should get her as a speaker, or I'll talk to her when I'm there. She's a chapter in one of my recent books. We can hear from Merve, who went to Texas Tech, all the Mosaic articles. You can hear from a guy named Bonk. There's an article from him on 30 ways learning is changing. Brown Collins de Good, very famous article on situated cognition, on and on and on. Chris Deedy with Lydia Cow from Harvard. Ed Catmull from Pixar, the president of Pixar. Very important article. We have to have a Pixar article in here. It wouldn't be fun, right? There's probably his book, Creativity Inc. is probably one of the best books I read this decade. And his movies are phenomenal as well. But if you want to learn about creativity and be a creative person, I'd take a look at Ed Catmull and read those two little pieces. There are a lot of tips in there. Christine Greenhow, who will be coming in one of the last weeks of the semester, on and on and on and on. I'm blanking on Hendrickson's last name now. Dana. So if you click on it, you can get to the article. Okay, so Dana Hendrickson from Arizona State, I had her as a guest in Silver Lining for Learning, my podcast show. She's into mindfulness and creativity. And every month in Tech Trends, she interviews someone in the creative space. So often, Hendrickson, Dana, and my podcast partner, Punya Mishra from ASU, have the opening article in Tech Trends. They interview different people doing creativity and, well, now meditation, research, mindfulness, and all that. So those are all in there. Dr. Hickey from IST's got an article in there, and on and on and on. You'll see. Badrul Khan, our first guest last year, he's got a piece. He's an alum of IST, and so forth and so on. So I shouldn't belabor it. So the one thing you can get are all the articles, as I mentioned. See if it goes back to where we were, and if not, I'll click right here. And this will take us back. And then you'll also notice my rubrics will be in here and the templates for the class. So if you want to see the grading rubrics, again, I only taught this course once before, and so those were the grading rubrics I used last time, a couple of them, not all of them. They may change. There's no guarantees that it's going to be exactly the same. We may end up doing different things. You might restructure the class. And then the templates for the midterm and the final on the learning environments. These are templates that were designed by Dr. Brush and Dr. Parker, who taught this course previously. So you can take a look at the learning environment templates to help you create your learning environment. I didn't create them. I maybe have changed it a little bit. So this is what happens. I assumed a course, and I didn't want to change it too much, at least to start with. So I kept some of their assignments that they assigned, but I designed some of my own assignments, some new things as well. And the learning environment analysis worksheet is something that they designed that I can't say that I was the one who did that one. So let's see if this will bring us back. Okay, so then we're back. And some of you have been in Padlet, maybe already. Bo, thanks for creating the Padlet. If you didn't take a look at last year's Padlet, it's hilarious. So we've got, oh, Lucy and Rachel and Maddie and Evan have been in there. Great. A lot of you have been, Christy and Emily. I saw Emily was here. Emily's from Georgia. A lot of things happening in Georgia recently, including the University of Georgia losing a real key important professor, friend of mine who's going to Emory. Dr. Cho and Amelia. Everyone's been here. Jill, great. I've got my reading cut out for me. It looks like, so take a look at them. You'll meet some interesting people that way. Or you can take a look at last. Let's see what shows up in last year's, Bo. Is this the one? Yes, there's Bo. And Christian was my TA last year. But you can see Megan and Tiana and Bo and others that took the class, and Wes.
That was my grumpy old man face.
Yeah, Wes was a baseball player, I believe. Do we have any baseball players in this class? I think somebody is. We have two maybe signed up. Maybe they're not here.
No, I'm here.
You're in the baseball
Yeah.
team?
Yeah,
Yeah. What do you play?
I'm a left-handed pitcher, so
Hey,
I'm
great.
good friends with Wes. He's going to Tulane this year.
Is
So,
he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, say hi from me. Yeah.
I
like
will.
Wes. Yeah. And wish Tulane good luck, except when they play us, right? So
Yes, sir.
well, you had a great season this past year, and
Oh, yeah.
a lot of wins. Yeah, and I assume that you were in a few of those games, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How many years do you have left on the team?
This is my last year, so
Okay, well, when do the season start? In February?
yeah.
Yeah.
Middle
And-
of February.
And,
We'll be going
and
down south. So
practice starts when?
tomorrow. We had our first we had our first like lift today, but tomorrow is like our first actual day of starting. So
Wow. Well, I'm sure my phone's not going to ring. Unless they want me to sell, tickets or something. But I do love baseball, so I'm glad you're in this course, and maybe you can, design the learning environments for athletes that's, interesting, creative, engaging, collaborative, and all that. You can and empowering. So again,
good.
you'll have a link to Canvas in here. So if you want to explore the Canvas website for the course, maybe I can go to that as well. I hadn't thought about showing Canvas for this course, but I could try. And I'm not even sure if that's the right link for this course, but what the heck? I can try anything once, try anything twice, try anything 3 times, and now it's gonna override. Okay, are we gonna get in? Look at that. Is it the right year? Or is this last semester? No, it's last year's. Of course, it's last year's. So let's look back at the course dashboard for this semester. I think this is, here we go, I think. And so you'll see in Canvas, I have some announcements that I've posted in here. And the moderator sign up link, if you lost the moderator sign up link, you just go right in here and find that. And other announcements are in here as well. The Zoom links and so forth. The syllabus is in there, assignments. So I've tried putting all the assignments. I want you to upload when you're done. It will list the due dates in here, and you can, if you're not sure what the assignment is, you just click on it and you can read that particular assignment and what it requires and when it's due and all that. So that's all there. So I'm going to have you in the discussions as well. So we're going to start with week 1, which is way on the bottom. So that's the first one I did. And I'm not sure if anyone's posted to it yet, but the articles are listed in there as options. And then you'll have discussion that wraps around those. So the week 1 is on learning environment, foundations, and history. Boy, we start with a bang in here, don't we? It's not, we started with some pretty heavy duty stuff. These are some famous people, the top, all of them. I mean, every single one. And Pete Hohenbein, number 5, was a guest last year in this class. And he's an IU IST alum. He's an IU instructor, IST. He is phenomenal. But we have just other folks like John Bransford. He's one of the most famous educational psychologists in the world, passed away this summer. just a few months back, and others. Again, I can go on and on about the different people, but you'll see that in discussion. The Cultura Media Gallery is a place where I'll store all the videos. Every week, at the end, I'll save them, record them, and I'll make them available for you. I'll also make a special YouTube. Hopefully my assistant can make a YouTube up for this class. So when you leave this class, you can have a playlist of all the guests and you can take that with you. I hope. I did that last year. You also have the grade book in here. You can see who the people are in this room, in the course, if you want to get connected to them. And I'll send out a roster of everyone's email to everyone in the class, so you can have that. And you can see Ty's got this baseball picture right there. So yeah, there we go. Wow, wicked. Okay, that looks like a 105 mile an hour, but anyways, you can also go to the photo gallery. I'm embarrassing him now. There we go. You can go to the photo gallery and see what Carol looked like whenever she posted her picture. Yep, there's Carol. And we've got Emmanuel and Ty and Michelle and Alicia and Ed. Everyone's in there. Lena is a visiting scholar from China this year as well. So we have a couple of visiting scholars in here. We also have Name Coach. So if you want to tell people how to pronounce your name, if you're not sure, you can use Name Coach and upload that to have people understand how to say pronounce your name. And so those are the basics of this. There's not much to it, really. I mean, it's not all that complicated. It's fairly easy to navigate when you go in there. So I'm going to bow out and head back to where I was, if it lets me. Sorry, I got to go back through everything in here to get to my syllabus page. Come on. There we go. So now let me just take this through. There we go to, I was on 2022, this is 2023. So it's a course description, objectives, the schedule. You see, I used to be an accountant or a CPA. I'm kind of organized, except when I'm not. And so in week 6 is now, the guests are now really week 7 guests. So some of that has changed. This was only drafted the night before last, and I've been working on this constantly to change it around. You'll see that, so 2 things are due in a month and 2 things are due in 3 months. So you got 2 months in between the first assignment and the second assignment to work on your final. So that should be plenty of time to go through that. There's some grading guidelines and some plagiarism stuff. I'm really not all that worried about all that. I tend to trust people, and I know you're going to want to learn what's in the course, but we have to list the policies and so forth. It's a requirement. So again, Dropbox is where all the course materials, except in Canvas. Some will be in Canvas. Here's the playlist. So if you want all the videos and watch all those videos, you can click on here. And this will take us to a 1 page that has, this is all 12 or 15 other people from last semester if you want to watch them. And so I think that's kind of really kind of cool to have everything that we had and make that available. Oh, looks like I got, we got Dr. Tom Reeves talking to us there. And so you'll see underneath here, the first assignment, the discussion. So there's weekly discussion. And one thing I want to warn you, don't procrastinate too much on discussion. There's usually 1 or 2 people that get behind. So if you try and post, not only your own post, but comment to others, react to others, make it a discussion and make it interactive. Now there's just going to be 1 thread every week. I could break up into 2 threads, maybe for higher education, 1 for K-12 schools, maybe 1 for corporate, but I decided everybody, there's 18 of us right now in this class and are the students, and there's 2 instructional assist, Bo and I. So, we're gonna have 1 thread for everybody. It can get a little wild and out of hand towards the end of the week, but it's also probably better to constrain it and keep it all within one space. We may break this into 2 threads, depending upon, you know, what Bo and I see happening in here. It's sometimes a tough call. Bo, did you ever find out what option 3B, how many videos one must watch or listen to? Or did I miss?
No, give me a
That's-
second. I'll find that here for you.
Yeah. It says a 3-page, but it doesn't say how many to watch to, you know, I can't find it readily anyhow. So anyways, all this is in there, the layout of the midterm and the final assignment and so forth. The readings. So I think readings for week 1 are pretty darn important. There's people, like I said, there isn't a week thing in week 1, but I recommend reading 3 things a week. So don't panic, Carol, Ty, Emily, don't panic on me. You have to read 3 articles a week, or read 2 articles and watch a video, watch a recording. That's the minimum I'm expecting. I'm not testing anyone on it. There's no quizzes at any point in the semester. It's all up to you, and you'll get that in the discussion, okay, and your course summaries. So in week 2, we only have 4 articles. So 3 out of 4, or there's actually only 3 articles plus a video from my podcast show. So when it says Silver Lining for Learning, those are my podcasts. We've been running since March 21st of 2020. We've had 163 shows, including this weekend on Ukraine in education. I've been jogging every day since that we started podcasting, or 1,249 days of running in a row. I'm crazy. Week 3 is on formal learning environments at the K-12 space. Dr. Brush, who taught this course, has the first article, and then there are others. He has the 3rd article as well. There's a bunch of things in here, videos, interviews I've done in the K-12 space. Then we have informal learning environments with the people from BYU EdTech Books, as well as other options. Christine Greenhow, number 3, she's coming in this semester, later in the semester. She's busy until November, so she's coming in around November 14. I've known her for quite a while. Again, coming from Michigan State. Let me just skip over that. Week 5, we have Tony and Jen Harrington. Jen Harrington is one of the most famous people in the world for active learning environments. And she actually created a website, I'm sorry, authentic learning environments. So authentic, meaningful, relevant learning, which to me is very important. Her husband is Tony Harrington. They have a free book on authentic learning environments. Then we move on to in the workplace-based learning for week 6. And then week 7, we get into active learning in higher ed, and we'll bring in at least 1 person, if not 2 or 3, from IU who are developing active learning spaces called the Mosaic Project. And you'll see a bunch of people in here, including Merve Bazdagan, who was my TA a couple of years ago and just left Bloomington Thursday for Texas Tech. Then we get into well-being and belongingness, which, since I think is kind of an important topic, and we'll hear from different folks who talk about how to create person-centered learning. And we move into mindfulness and open thinking and what I call radical creativity from people like Dana Henderson at Arizona State and others. Natalie Gruber, her friend, colleague, her grad student. A lot of stuff. There's 25 things in that week. Don't read it all. There's all options. So pick 3 things that interest you on mindfulness and open thinking. Now, my colleague In-Sung Jong from Japan originally, she's just in Korea now, retired to Korea. She developed an open thinking questionnaire, a scale for open thinking, which I think is really important in today's world of everything being open. You know, I wrote the book, as you might know, The World is Open, How Web Technology is Revolutionizing Education. I've also done a couple of books on massive open online courses in the global South and around the world. So I'm really a believer in this free and open stuff. And I have a free book that you can all download called Adding Tech Variety. And it's on 10 motivational principles for teaching in online environments. So some of you, like Ty, are in the certificate program or trying to get a certificate for teaching online. You might want to download my free book and other free books. This has 100 activities for teaching in online environments to make it more encouraging. There are 10 principles of motivation, encouragement, autonomy, relevance, interactivity, engagement, tension, yielding products, creating a safe tone or climate. I have a sister book to that one, which has 100 activities in it. It's my R2D2 model, my Star Wars model, read, reflect, display, and do, R2D2. That one costs money, so I'm not going to promote it.
Are those books in the syllabus?
So in my other syllabus, I know they're in. Bo, take a quick look for the Adding Tech Variety. I think it's in this syllabus too, and I think it's free to download. But if you just go to tech-variety, TEC-variety, you can download it in Chinese and in English. So yeah, and in my other class, we have a whole bunch, about 10 free books. I'm not sure if I listed it in here, but I should have. Thank you. I'm glad you caught that. I'm sorry it paused. Anyone who we've missed a bit, but I'm almost done here. So let me see if I can finish this. So in week 11, you'll find the free book, and free books, 2 books, and number 8 and number 9 that I've done. Number 10 is Mahabali from Egypt, from American University of Cyprus. I'll visit that university. I'll visit with her around September 22nd to 29th. I'll be there, and I'll try and interview her for this class. She's a pretty famous person in the instructional design department there, but she writes a lot about creating wellness and impactful learning for diversity, very much into diversity, equity, and inclusion, and helping, helping isolated people learn during the pandemic. Article 11, David Wiley, he's one of the founders of Open Education and Open Books, and was the president of ACT last year. So that's that week. I must have put a lot of stuff in week 11. So yeah, definitely jump up to week 11. And our Silver Lining for Learning shows, we've got a few of them in here. One called Quality Matters. There's an organization called Quality Matters that evaluates whether your online courses are of quality. We brought the president, vice president of Quality Matters into my podcast show to talk about how to create quality online learning. And that's number 14 for week 11. Number 12 for week 11, we had a guest. His name is Maxime Jean-Louis. He's from Ontario. He's from Contact North in Ontario, which is providing training and education for all people who are disadvantaged within the provinces in Ontario, who might be living in Indigenous communities in Northern Ontario, and he's trying to create education for everybody. And it's an interesting interview. He's now created the AI Tutor, which I mentioned earlier, where I'll have Dr. Ron Ostin present that. And week number 15 in week 11 is find a place for Stanford's Code in Place. Stanford's Code in Place is a coding course taught by 3 professors at Stanford for free. Tens of thousands of people learn how to program for free, and they have hundreds, if not thousands, of teachers that are all volunteers. So it's kind of interesting. You might find that interesting to read and to learn about. All those podcasts that are listed there are good ones, including the one on number 13 on global education, learning through cross-cultural project-based learning. Week 12 is on smart learning environments. This is the new term. I'm going to speak on that in Japan. I just spoke on it in China a couple of weeks ago. What is a smart learning environment? What's a dumb learning environment? I used to use a book called Smart Schools, Developing Smart Schools. Everyone's smart schools, but we still have problems in test scores, right? So again, we had Michael Spector from North Texas, who did on awards in his name. He was in he's got Article 1. My friend Sanjay Mishra has Article 2. He's from the Commonwealth of Learning, COL.org in Vancouver. Commonwealth of Learning is trying to help train teachers about technology in all the former British colonies. So Grenada, India, Malaysia, and on and on and on, New Zealand, Australia, and so forth. He has Article 2, and they provide lots of free stuff. Just type in COL.org, Commonwealth of Learning. So just going through this syllabus, you're learning a heck of a lot of stuff, I hope, because this is like, who's who of resources. Week 13, so both Kao and Didi will be guests in this class. Actually, gosh, the first three articles, Kao and Dady will be here, Ron Ostin will be here, and then Bonk's here every week. Hee-Jung An was here last semester or last year talking about maker spaces and STEM projects. So her video's in your list. So week 13, AI, robotics, and the metaverse. That'd be a cool week, right? That's when we had Dr. Schroeder last week, I believe. He came in and talked to us. And there's 2 articles from Dr. Ray Schroeder from the University of Illinois, Springfield. So he's also in that week. Week 14, we get at trends and issues, and the same kind of trends and issues in terms of AI and the metaverse and immersive world. Well, Lydia Cao, I hope I'm saying that name right in Chinese. Who's from China there can help me? CAO, how do you pronounce CAO in Chinese? So how do you pronounce that?
好 is cow.
Okay,
好
thank you.
or
A
chow.
couple,
Oh, okay.
Cao or Chow. So Lydia will be here to tell us how to say her name. And she wrote an article, she's into earth design, earth-centered design. How cool is that? So she wants to help the planet out. She's also working in AI, and she's a postdoc at Harvard this year. Heading to Montreal next year, I believe, or Toronto, University of Toronto next year. So you can read different things on week 14 on trends and issues. Again, Ray Schroeder and other folks from the Commonwealth of Learning, and an article from Stephen Downs, who's got a new theory called connectivism. He has an article on 10 new technology tools. Week 15. Now here's the big question for the semester. Bo wrote me a note yesterday, and he said, there's students in this class that are mad at you, Dr. Bonk. They're really upset right now, and they're ready to drop the class because there are 4 articles that aren't appearing in the course Dropbox. They can't find these 4 articles, and they really want to read them. So I spent last night getting the 4 articles, and I put them in Dropbox. But that indicated to me that those 4 articles must be important, and maybe the whole week is important. And it's on the psychology of online learning. So here's the deal. The Educational Psychologist, which is a big and famous important journal, top level, had all sorts of technology people write articles for a special issue. And the special issue took years to come out too. They really took a couple of years. And many of my friends are in that special issue. So I could bring in some of these people to be on a panel and have a discussion about their articles in a particular week. So I'm thinking that maybe we move week 15 up earlier in the semester. And I don't know how much earlier, but earlier in the semester. And so that's one idea that I've got in terms of changing, and why I haven't finalized the course yet. But Christine Greenhow, number 1, she'll already be here. She's coming on November 14th. So what I'm thinking is we could move things up to that particular week and have you read a couple articles, and we'll bring in a couple people from the special issue to talk about it. And the last one, number 8, Barbara Means, is one of the most famous professors in Stanford, because she summarized all online learning research like for 10 years, and the US Department of Ed sponsored it and became like this top study in online learning, because it showed that it showed that blended learning is the best, fully online second best, and face-to-face is the worst. And she replicated that study, to be honest. You would be kind of surprised to find out that face-to-face isn't so good in comparison. So she's there, and Dr. Hickey, one of our professors of learning science at IU, wrote an article as well. My colleague, Florence Martin, has an article. Peter Shea, another colleague, these people are just phenomenal. So that's one thing I'm thinking about. Anyway, I'll stop the sharing here at this point. And so questions for me as we get to 10 after 8. Raise your hand if you're not from Bloomington, and not from Indiana, or not from the not from Eastern time zone. If you're not in Eastern time zone, anyone? Okay, so Linda, what time zone are you in?
I'm Central Time.
Are you in Texas?
I'm in Northern Indiana. We're in the one part of the state that's in the Central
Oh,
Time.
right, you're not, yeah, so you're, duh, so I was saying Texas, I know where you're from. So you're from the part that's the good part, connected to my part of Milwaukee,
Okay.
okay, where I'm from, yeah. You don't have the accent though, the people up in Chicago and Milwaukee, so
Oh, I don't. I got all kinds of comments when I used to go to IUPUI back in my undergrad days about my accent.
okay, thank you for saying, yeah, I don't. All right, so anyone else not from Eastern time zone? Amelia's not, right? And Ed, are you in Texas?
Yeah, I'm in Texas, in Austin area.
Right, that's what I thought. So we have a few outside. So any questions so far? I know I rushed through that a bit. I didn't read it to you, but I walked you through it. You know, and again, I'm going to be sending you a new version either tonight or tomorrow, and then another new version probably in 3 or 4 days, and another new version in a week, because there's typos in it. I'm sure there's typos, and we'll find them and we'll fix it. And as Bo said, people will send me stuff to add, you know, a cool article for week 2 or week 3, and I'll add it in. And is there not enough AI in here? Like, I mean, did I have any assignments which give an AI option like my other class? Maybe I don't have AI options. But you know, if you want to do any of these tasks and have AI do it and then critique it and do a reflection on the AI bit, that'd be fun to do.
Dr. Bonk, there
yeah.
was one assignment that you didn't necessarily say use AI and critique it, but it was more you can use up to 3 pieces of AI and then cite it appropriately.
I thought so. Yeah.
I think it's like task, I don't know, task 3 or 4 maybe in there.
Right, probably task 3.
But I definitely remember it.
Great. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah.
No problem.
So, you know, reference it like Wikipedia. You know, people banned Wikipedia early on, then they said it was okay. You know, people are banning, you know, whatever, banned smartphones in the classroom. People ban everything that's unusual. And there's a distrust for something right away. I'd rather embrace it somewhat, cautiously embrace it, or cautiously explore it. Maybe not embrace, but a different E word, explore it. And then talk about what happened at the end of the semester and see whether or not we can use it more next year, right? So Carol's got a little question here. If I get this up on the question, says, Emily, where are you? Where is Emily?
I'm in Fort Worth.
Okay. I was there 2 weeks ago. Well, in the Dallas airport, basically.
Yeah.
Hotel for a few days. Yeah. It was hot, 102 degrees running. It was the worst of my 1,200 days. I swear. I went 2 o'clock in the afternoon, all direct sun. I jogged a minimum of 2 miles every day outside. I got 20 steps out and I was almost dead. I don't know how you survived that heat wave you had, because that was horrendous.
I'll take 102. It's been 111 lately, so I'll gladly take 102.
Oh, that's hurting me. That's, you know, my daughter's in Vegas where they had 116 or whatever, but they're getting rain today. So, so we've got a question in here, and it is how much of a separation is there between designing an online environment versus other kinds of environment? Interesting that 1 week is dedicated to online versus the rest. Well, you know, online becomes a framing mechanism, you know, and it becomes a way to think about things. I would say that online environments are distinct from face-to-face for many reasons, many aspects, some of which be advantages and disadvantages. Online environments, you don't have to worry about commute, travel, parking, you know, those types of things that we have to worry about in a face-to-face kind of environment. You know, scheduling, all these things go by the wayside. And so the logistics are one thing that differs. immediacy of responses might be dramatically different. In a face-to-face environment, if you give feedback to 2 or 3 students in a 15-minute window on, their discussion, they're happy with that. Their instructor is being responsive. In an online class, if the instructor isn't responsive to everybody on everything they did, they're not being responsive. So there's a huge difference in terms of feedback or responsiveness between a face-to-face and an online environment. We've all had face-to-face our whole lives, decades of it. And we're used to sitting for long spells of time, never getting an instructor to reply specifically to us. In fact, oftentimes we avoid it. We hide underneath our desks to avoid the instructor attention. But when you move to online and you post even just 5 words in an online space and there's nothing coming back to you, you're distraught, at least temporarily. And you're saying, well, who's teaching this class? They don't even respond. So it's, the stakes are much different in terms of the classroom responsiveness. So there's a model that looks at teacher presence, cognitive presence, and social presence, or teaching presence. So teaching presence means that you're alive and well and responsive, and the students feel you, that you care about them, kind of thing in the class. And it's called the community of inquiry model. Well, the community inquiry model didn't exist until online learning existed, or at least blended. I mean, it was developed by my friend Randy Garrison at Calgary, in the University of Calgary, about 1997. And so that community inquiry model, COI models, alive and well in many articles you'll read, and it's critiqued a number of times. So it gets at all these social presence, cognitive presence, teaching presence that create that umbrella, create the environment that the students feel cared about, and they feel like the course is engaging, the course is meaningful and relevant to their needs. So that's another aspect that's different between the two. I will say in teaching an online course, 80% of the online course is setting it up, and 20% is delivery. Most of the online courses is at the beginning. In a face-to-face class, the hardest part about online courses is the beginning. Hardest part about teaching a face-to-face is the end. You get all the assignments due and you got to grade them. So that's the big difference in terms of teaching. In terms of learning as a student, again, there's the responsiveness, and there's also, developing community. I mean, getting to know other students and feeling like they're, oftentimes if you set it up right, they'll feel like they know their peers better in an online than they ever met them in a face-to-face environment. So it really depends on how the activities and assignments are created. In an online course too, it's easier to repurpose the content. It's easy to repurpose the activities and reuse the activities. So you're using them over time. You can build on activities. You can, in a digital space that we put things up, it's free. I mean, and whereas in a physical space, you're printing out reams of paper and you're killing a lot of trees, right? And so all those trees die from all the printing. So that's another aspect that's different. There's probably tons. Rachel nodded her head twice, yes, on a couple of things. Rachel, is there anything else different between face-to-face and online I'm missing?
I think one of the other things is the longevity of the educational products. When it's online, it's preserved, and in some ways, in most cases, but when you're in a face-to-face or in-person class, everything's ephemeral except the work that you did, and if the faculty person gives you comments in writing.
Yeah, the comments in writing thing. Yeah. I see someone posted a picture up here. Thank you, Ed, for the picture. You've got Christian in there and so forth. I got Michelle's question. Any other questions or comments in here? We could create meetups and so forth. So what I think I'm going to do is pose 3 things to you in breakout groups like I did kind of last night, but maybe give a little longer time. We have more people here, and there's 3 things to discuss instead of 2. There's at least 3 things. One, I want you to discuss any questions or issues that you have so far that need to be raised. So first off, and I will let Bo lead one group and I'll lead the other group. And I'll put one visiting scholar with you, Ed, and I'll put the other visiting scholar with me. And I'll put Lucy. Yeah. So we've got a couple people can help. Great. And then the second thing I wanted you to talk about is what kinds of ideas did you get from this so far? Are there any kinds of readings that you might want to do, given what I've talked about, or assignments, options? And the third thing is the last thing I just posed was, should we move week 15 to an earlier week and have a panel of people who wrote articles for that week and bring them in, bring at least 2 people, maybe 3 people in from those articles and chat with them about their articles in the chat. So Bo, I'll let you lead one group and I'll lead the other, and we'll move into that. Before I do, any questions? Okay. And we didn't do proper introductions of everybody in here. I mean, we just bounced around a little bit, and I apologize if there wasn't someone I've we didn't get someone to introduce themselves adequately. Jill, you didn't get to say hi. Jill?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jill from Taiwan. Yeah. I'm so happy to be here because I'm a person who loves to talk. So I talk silently in our chat room a lot.
And how long ago did you finish your PhD?
This is my 4th year, and I just finished my dissertation.
What month did you finish your dissertation? What month?
July.
July. So 1 month ago, you became a doctor. So we'll give you a round of applause too. So
thank you. Now I'm here to learn much from all of you, and I really love to interact with all of you, online or in person.
So Jill arrived in July. She was a Fulbright scholar from Taiwan studying immersive learning.
Yeah.
And one of her master's advisors was a former student of mine from language education and had recommended her to come to IU. So Alicia has been here before and she knew she wanted to come back, and Jill's a first-time person coming here. There's another one her name's Lena. So there's 3 visiting scholars who might be appearing in here. And Lucy graduated 2 years ago. So we have a lot of doctors in the room. Alicia teaches English, and so we have different expertise that we'll take advantage of. So thank you. And Evan's from the Coast Guard. He's in DC, right, Evan?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm stationed here in Washington, DC. I'm just in a 1-year master's IST program, and this is my first semester.
It's a 1 year plus 2 summers, I think, right? So your brain's probably dead right at the end of it, because you've already taken, what, 6 or 9 credits this summer?
This is actually my first semester, and I'm at 12 credits.
12 credits this semester.
Correct.
Okay. So my assignments are due a couple weeks before the others. Okay. So I'm not piling on the you can get them done and then work on the other ones. So yeah. So Jill's comment here, I guess there would be a difference between synchronous and asynchronous online in terms of the types of presence and many, many, many other things. Michelle, have you adequately introduced yourself?
I don't know. I'm kind of the opposite. I'll be like the introvert in the group. This is my 2nd semester in the IST program. I'm working on my master's. I was in your class this spring, the 511 class. I'm the e-learning person. Like, I'm here to focus on e-learning, and right now I'm working for the last 7 or 8 years. I've been more in the technology end, and I'm not a licensed or trained educator. So I'm kind of filling in a lot of gaps. I love the technology end of it, but I can see where those gaps produce issues for me. And I work in like asynchronous online learning for adult certification programs. And I see a lot of, the syllabus really interested me, and particularly the online aspect. And I'm going to be very curious how many of the other weeks of the course I can inspire changes in the online programs as well, because in the environment that I'm in, a lot of it is learning is almost put out as a passive income opportunity for the SMEs. And it's read and test and read and test, and then they get thrust into like case studies and practice clients, and there's a lot of attrition when that happens. So I'm interested in how I can start closing those gaps.
Great. And you didn't say the name of the organization that you work for, and where it is.
I don't think anybody would recognize. It's an online holistic health school that's located in Vancouver, Canada. I live in the United States. I'm on like the east side of Cleveland, Ohio.
Great. Great. Bliss, you want to jump in and say something about yourself?
I'm a learning specialist at the high school level, which they call it a learning specialist, but I'm just a special ed teacher. I go into classes and co-teach in ELA 10, geometry and algebra. I'm working on my doctorate. I took a year off for the move, and so this is my first semester back to hopefully power through and knock it out.
I know I have more.
I'm actually, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And I'm actually right up the street from a zoo. That's where we are. So everyone keeps asking me why I'm going to Indiana University, and I keep telling them because it's better. But out here, no one seems to believe me.
I had a nice trip out there once to visit the campus there. It's similar to Indiana, very similar. Emily and Madison, I want you to do it. I know we're going to miss somebody here, but we need to go to breakouts. But Emily, real quick, and Madison, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Sure. Hi. I'm in my second year in the EDD program. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. I used to be a special education teacher at the elementary level and really liked the tech side of things, used a lot of technology in my classroom. And now I am an instructional technologist for a school district in Fort Worth.
Wonderful. And Madison.
Hi there. This is my 4th semester in the IST master's program. I'm going through a career transition, hopefully. I'm a trained graphic designer and marketing writer. So hoping to leave the marketing space and go into the training world. I work for a government consultant that provides training to state and local governments post natural disasters. So there's a lot of opportunities there for me once I'm done with this program.
Sounds good. And I'm going to pause the recording. And do we have everyone back here? I don't think we might be missing a couple of people here. So there were 3 things that came up in our room as we're waiting for a couple of the other people to show up from the other side. One related to matchmaking, getting people to work with a partner on number 4 and number 5. And Bo and I will work on that. So, we'll maybe use the Padlet introductions that each one had and so forth. So he should be back any second now. Here he comes on cue, just on cue, Bo, just on cue.
Made it.
So what I was saying, in our group, there has to be a better way to match people up, matchmake, and we can matchmake people through the Padlet posts. You and I can look at and say who'd be good for partners, and they can also matchmake themselves. So if you know who you might want to have a partner for something, just send Bo and I an email. Who's your potential partner? I've got a form that you could fill out, but I think I'm going to skip the form. I think we'll take a look at the Padlet. You can look at the list. I'll send a roster to everybody, and then it'll proceed, I think, more effectively that way. If I set up a form, it might take us a couple of weeks for everyone to fill in the darn form. So I think I like to be a little more proactive in this. The second thing that came up in our group was time. It seems like this time was a good time for most people. A Monday night at 7 o'clock. Would anyone like to recommend an earlier time, like 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, or a later time, like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, or a different day, like Tuesday or a Wednesday? Let me ask the question a different way. If once in a while it's at 6 o'clock, is that okay with people? We have some people who are coming in from elsewhere and they say, I can't be there at 7 o'clock. I can be there at 6 o'clock. Yeah, okay. All right. So there'll be a couple of times I will say, I have a person from Denmark and I think another country somewhere I'm blanking on. It might be Netherlands. I got Netherlands and Denmark, where it might be a noon event on Monday. It's going to be 6 o'clock in Denmark or 7 o'clock in Denmark, 6 o'clock in Netherlands. if I did 1 or 2 at noon, is that okay? Or not? You're gonna kill me. Yeah, you don't really, I know, but I'll record it and I'll make it available for everyone. But I'll try and avoid that where I can. Then the third thing is a comment that would be, good to learn a lot about AI. This summer, I've been researching AI, ChatGPT for language learning. We're interviewing YouTubers. Article got published today. Another one got published 2 weeks ago. I could do presentations on ChatGPT. I could have my team do that. So I'll try and add to it somewhat. I have to present in Cairo, Egypt anyways on AI and in Japan on AI. And so I might use you as a guinea pig for those talks, maybe. We'll see. So those 3 things came up on our side. Bo, what came up on your side?
We actually we kind of discovered that we have like some cohorts forming in the classroom already. So Emily and Christy, have kind of decided that they probably will work together. They've done that a few times in the past already. And then Ed and Bliss sounded like they were gonna, work with one another on some potential projects, or even just look at their course schedules down the road. I talked just a little bit about just a few things that regarding the articles each week. And one of the things that I told my group was that the thing that I discovered last year that I really loved was having individuals come to the discussion postings, having read different articles. It makes for a nice, rich, diverse conversation where the topic is the same, but the knowledge base is different from one individual to the next. And I absolutely love that. So that was just a good recommendation to talk about that. Jill had brought that up about, there's like 7 or 8 articles each week. We don't have to read all of them. Sometimes you can substitute your own content in there as well. And it makes for, great conversations in there.
Exactly. So that's, important to point out. Anything else?
The last thing was that we will, if we're going to make any adjustments to the syllabus was she leaving? She left. To make those adjustments early on rather than later, just so that individuals can plan ahead of time for things.
Right. So I will change that week 15. We voted in the other class to move that up. I think we in this part in your group as well. So we'll move up week 15 and we'll move something, everything will adjust down. So week 15 was week 16. It was an add-on last fall. It wasn't even in last fall's syllabus. It happened during the semester that came out. And so I just put it at the end. So I didn't readjust. So I was in scramble mode trying to get this ready. So so again, everything should be free and available for you. If you can't find something, let Bo or I know that you can't find it or it isn't available for you. And we will, let me double check. We'll see you next time. Next time, we are going to have people from Texas, from Houston, Texas in here. And I will send everyone a reminder note, but a week from today, same time, 7 o'clock, with Dr. Sunny Zhang talking about her tool, True Leap, and so forth. So let me stop the recording. Again, thank you for coming to the first week of R622 Learning Environments Design. I am